welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is actually going to be my FA Cup third round score predictions, guys. So as you all know by now, every week I do make my championship score predictions, but as we don't have any championship action going on this weekend and it is the weekend of the third round of the FA Cup, I thought I'd bring to you guys some FA Cup third round score predictions. So of course all of the championship clubs will be involved in this video, and we're also going to be predicting a couple of the Premier League fixtures as well. So as always, guys, I will leave all of this weekend's fixtures in the description down below, and then you guys can easily go ahead and make your predictions. And then if you do successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, I will include your comment at the start of the next video. And we have a lot of games to go ahead and discuss today, guys. You know, normally on an episode of my championship score predictions, we've only got 12 games to talk over. In today's video, we've got over 20, so we've got a lot of action to go ahead and discuss. And so what I'm also interested to know from you guys is, how seriously do you want your club to take the FA Cup this season? You know, do you want your club to be more focused on the league? Do you want to see a lot of changes being made this weekend, or do you really want to go for it and hopefully get a big tie in the next round? Let me know down below, because I feel like fans of different clubs will have different feelings about the FA Cup. And of course, these score predictions are very hard to make, as this is usually the time of year when managers do make quite a few changes to their starting 11. So without knowing them, you know, before going into this game, these predictions are a bit of a stab in the dark, I'm not gonna lie. But nevertheless, we are going to be giving them our best attempts anyway, and let's jump into them. So the game that's actually kicking off the FA Cup is an all Premier League time, the Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. And last time these two sides played each other in the Premier League, it wasn't too long ago. It was a bit of a cagey game. You know, Everton were very defensive. It was one of their more earlier games under Sam Allardyce, and they obviously got a point from that in the end. I'm hoping that because this is in the FA Cup and because quite a few changes will be made, it'll be a lot more expansive game and a lot more open, hopefully. So I'm going to go for a high scoring 3-2 home victory for Liverpool. Hopefully it'll be a better game this time. And then we do have the second game taking place tonight, guys, in the FA Cup. That's taking place between Manchester United and Derby County. So of course Derby at the moment going fantastically well in the Championship, and I'm interested to see how Gary Rowett will go about this competition. Of course, Man United, you know, a lot of pressure's been coming under Jose Mourinho at the moment. Their performances have been really under par lately, and especially what happened a few weeks ago with Bristol City managing to beat Man United. Surely Man United can't be allowing themselves to be beaten by two Championship clubs in the same season. But as they'll probably make changes, I do think Derby will really give them a game, and I'm actually going to fancy them to get a replay out of this one. I'm going to predict it to finish as a 1-1 draw. What do you guys think of that? Let me know down below. Now guys, we will move on into some of the Saturday games in the FA Cup, the first of which taking place between Middlesbrough and Sunderland. So for this one, I mean, I imagine both sides will go ahead and make changes for this one, as Middlesbrough have the deepest squad depth and probably with more to play for. Obviously with a new manager in Tony Pulis, some of their fringe players will want to impress in this game surely. So for that reason, I'm going to go for a 3-1 home victory for Middlesbrough. You know, Sunderland have got bigger issues this season. Aston Villa against Peterborough, I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory for Villa on that one, although Peterborough are that sort of side which could cause an upset in this one, so it wouldn't catch me totally off guard if that was to happen, but I'm just going to go for a Villa victory. Our next game then sees a full Championship tie as Birmingham go up against Burton Albion. Of course, two sides currently nearer to the bottom of the table at the moment, but both actually got a very good result in their last game week and have seemingly turned a bit of a corner maybe in 2018. So this is an interesting game. I think that what these two clubs will be hoping more than anything is that this isn't a replay. You know, the last thing that these two teams need is a replay, but I'm just going to go for a slim 1-0 home victory for Birmingham City. I feel like they'll both make quite a few changes and it will be on the bit of a knife edge. Blackburn against Hull is our next game, and of course with Hull currently struggling in the Championship, it wouldn't surprise me to see them make a lot of changes for this one as well. Of course, Blackburn have been doing very well in League One recently. I believe they're currently third in the table. I've not watched all too much of League One this season, but what I have seen of Blackburn, I've been quite impressed with so far this season. And with Hull struggling in the Championship, they've got bigger things to focus on this season, so I will go for a 2-1 home victory for Rovers. Then our next matchup sees Bolton Wanderers go up against Premier League opposition in Huddersfield Town, and this is a game which I could see Bolton having a bit of an upset in this one. You know, they've been that side this season, in the Championship especially, which has been able to take some shock results so far, but I get that impression once again that Bolton are going to be resting some key players for this one. Huddersfield, of course, being the Premier League side, will have a much deeper squad to go ahead and unlock some more talent in this one. So I'm just going to go for a 2-1 away victory for Huddersfield, although I wouldn't be too surprised to see Bolton cause an upset. Brentford against Notts County is our next game, and this is actually quite an interesting one actually. Notts County currently going very well in League 2 at this point in time. They're currently second in the table, and coming up against this Brentford side, I get the impression this one could be quite a high scoring affair actually, and I'm actually going to go for an upset for this one. I'm going to go ahead and back a 3-2 away victory for Notts County. It will be interesting to see quite a few Championship clubs and how many actually lose to a lower opposition side, but I don't think you can take Notts County lightly this year. And our next game I have very similar feelings about. We then have Cardiff coming up against Mansfield Town. Mansfield currently doing very well in League 2 as well. I believe they're currently in the playoff positions when I'm recording this video, and Cardiff at the moment have the wheels fallen off at Cardiff. Of course, they have had a bit of an injury crisis this season, and Neil Warnock is that type of manager who I can't see taking a cup competition all too seriously, especially with what's on stake with Cardiff in the league this year. I feel like he's going to make so many changes for this one that the team will just be too unorganised. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 away victory for Mansfield for this one. Then our next game sees Carlisle United go up against Sheffield Wednesday, and I mean Sheffield Wednesday, they can't defend as poorly as they did in their last game. That last game against Burton Albion was shambolic from Sheffield Wednesday, but this does give, you know, some of the fringe players who perhaps haven't been getting into the squad all season a bit of a chance to impress in this one. I just have that impression that they will bounce back in that one from that disaster they had against Burton. So this one I will go for a 3-1 Sheffield Wednesday victory. Then our next fixture sees Fulham go up against Southampton, and this is another game which I could see a bit of an upset going for this one, this time in favour of the Championship club. Fulham lately have been playing some fantastic football. Going forward especially, I think they have the potential to cause Southampton a lot of problems, and with this current Southampton squad seemingly being very low on confidence, I'm going to back a 3-1 home victory for Fulham. I really fancy them to get something out of this one, and so I'll back a 3-1 Fulham. Our next game then sees two Championship sides go up against each other once again. This time it is Ipswich who are going up against Sheffield United, and you never really know what you're going to get when two sides from the same league go up against each other in the FA Cup. Of course, you can't really judge it on what has happened in the league so far this season, as changes to both sides will most likely be made in this one, and I get the impression this one could be heading towards a replay actually. So for this game, I'm going to go ahead and predict it to finish as a 1-1 draw. We have another Premier League fixture in there now just for a bit of fun. That is Man City going up against Burnley, and Man City at the moment, they're just unstoppable in the Championship. You know, what I'd be interested to know from you guys is who do you think will win the league by more points this season? Will Wolves win the Championship by more points, or will Man City win the Premier League by more points? Let me know down below, because that's an interesting comparison. But Man City going up against Burnley. Burnley have been good this season and defensively could frustrate City for a bit, but overall their quality will tell. I'll go for a 2-0 Man City victory. Millwall going up against Barnsley is once again one of those games which I could see heading towards a draw. It's another old Championship tie as two Championship sides do go up against each other for this one, and I'm going to go ahead and predict this one to be a 1-1 draw. Then our next game sees QPR going up against MK Dons, and in QPR's latest home game against Cardiff City, they were absolutely fantastic going forward, and I hope I see more of that from QPR going forward this season, and this game against MK Dons gives them another chance to do that. MK Dons currently struggling in League 1, they're more towards the bottom of the table, so I can't see this being a large priority for them this season, and with Ian Holloway seeming to be a bit of a motivator for these one-game scenarios, I'm going to back a 3-0 home victory for QPR. Stevenage against Reading is a very interesting game, as this could have huge implications for the rest of Reading's season. You know, if Reading go ahead and lose this game, we could see Yapstein get the sack. You know, they've massively underachieved so far this season, and he needs to start salvaging something. But this game against Stevenage, I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 home victory, and I just think that Reading at the moment are just lacking in so much creativity and that just spark with anything going forward. I feel like they'll make changes for this one, and I'm not sure it'll suit them, so I'll say 2-0 Stevenage. Then we do get Watford, who are coming up against Bristol City. Now, in normal circumstances, I would say that this could be a very entertaining game, as of course Watford in the Premier League have been playing some great stuff this season. The same can be said for Bristol City in the Championship, but lately in the league, Bristol City have hit a bit of a slump, and as Bristol City are still in the League Cup, and I think they're playing the first leg against Man City on Tuesday night, this FA Cup game against Watford can't be a large priority for them. So for that reason, I feel like Lee Johnson will probably make like 11 changes, play a really weakened squad. So for that reason, I'll go with a 3-0 home victory for Watford. We then get Wolves, who are coming up against Swansea City, and Wolves have just been doing more bits in this January transfer window, and they're being linked to more crazy players at the moment. We'll have another transfer rumour video out soon to discuss all of them, but they're coming up against Swansea City, and I mean, even if Wolves do make changes, they've still got a very strong squad, you know. If you remember back earlier in the season in the League Cup when they were playing Man City, I think they made about 7 or 8 changes for that game and managed to hold Man City to a penalty shootout. So I can't see them weakening the squad having too much of an effect on them. Swansea struggling in the Premier League at the moment. I'll go for a 3-1 Wolves victory. We then get Wycombe, who are coming up against my club Preston North End, and for some reason I've just got a bad feeling about this game, guys. I'm not gonna lie about that. Preston in the League Cup this season, Alex Neil has been pretty clear that the cup competitions aren't going to be a huge priority for Preston this season, and I know really Preston are going to make a lot of changes for this one. I hope we do get to see some of our new players in action for this one. Actually, this could be a nice game to go ahead and bed them into the rest of the squad, but I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I have a feeling we may get beat actually, lads. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wycombe victory. God, what has this channel come to? And then for the last of the Saturday games, we then have Norwich City, who are going up against Chelsea, and I'm really baffled by this prediction, guys. I don't know which way to go for it. Of course, Norwich this season in the Championship have been very disappointing, but we did see earlier in the season them go up against Arsenal in the League Cup and almost go ahead and get something from that game. They just lost out in the end, so this could be a game where Norwich either really go toe-to-toe with Chelsea or they absolutely get battered. So I'm gonna go sort of halfway in between. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory for Chelsea. We can then move on into the Sunday kickoffs in FA Cup, the first of which being Newport County, who are going up against Leeds United. This has all the ingredients, I think, to go ahead and be a very good game, and it wouldn't surprise me to see quite a few goals being scored in this one, of course. Leeds' last game did finish as a stalemate and a 0-0 draw, and I feel like all of their goals will just be unloaded in this one over Newport County. So for this one, I'm going to go for a 4-2 away victory for Leeds. I do get the impression quite a few could be scored in this one. And then our last game to go ahead and predict does see Nottingham Forest go up against Arsenal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Forest and Arsenal did play not too long ago in the FA Cup. I seem to have a memory of that happening, but this time, I mean, the FA Cup does seem to be Arsenal's thing to, you know, fall back on. If they don't have a good season, typically they'll go ahead and win the FA Cup. So I think that this could be a good game, though. Of course, Nottingham Forest still without a manager this season, so it'll be interesting to see how they go ahead and approach this game in terms of team selection as well, but it will give some people the chance to impress who perhaps haven't been getting as much game time as they would like this season, and with quite a youthful squad, they've got nothing to fear in this one, I don't think, Forest. But even so, I will go with a slim 2-1 away victory for Arsenal. I just feel like in the FA Cup, they always seem to just about scrape by in these rounds. So guys, there you have it. There are some of the games which are taking place this weekend in the FA Cup. If there was a game that I didn't talk about but you still want to go ahead and predict, feel free to do so in the comments down below. And if any of you guys are new around here, make sure you do subscribe. It would be massively appreciated. We are now closing in on 8,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely mad, guys. But if you did go in to enjoy the video, guys, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you do check out all of the links in the description down below. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.